started biking a long time ago. Back in 1990, I went over to a friend's house and he had a couple bikes, and I thought they were the coolest thing. Uh, he told me, "You want to go out for a ride?" I told him, "Yeah, I want to go out for a ride." We went out for a bike ride and I was hooked. He let me keep the bike. 3 months later, I paid him for the bike and I became a bike messenger inside New York City. It's one of the best jobs I ever had. It was challenging. It was exciting. Um, and quite frankly, it was dangerous. You take dangerous things and you do them as safely as possible, right? So I always had my helmet on. And the biggest problem wasn't with the cars, it's with the pedestrians, because the pedestrians will step out into the road and then they'll look. And they're not looking for bikes, they're looking for cars. They don't see you and you don't have enough time to stop. We travel as fast as the cars at about 30 miles an hour, but we can't stop like the cars. Just small, two little calipers to stop a bicycle. Cars having huge, enormous steel discs to stop that. So the problems were not with the vehicles, but the problems were with pedestrians. I'm happy to say, I'm very proud to say that I never hit one pedestrian ever, but I have dumped my bike to avoid hitting a pedestrian. I would take the fall, because because I didn't want any harm to come to anybody else. Yeah, there's a stretch of road on Fifth Avenue, just below 42nd Street, was my favorite part, because there it's downhill. You become faster than the vehicles. So you're passing buses and passing cars. It's quite an amazing stretch of road. It was back then that I wanted to be in the prone position, outstretched. I didn't exactly know how I was going to do it, but later I came up with the hip cup. And the hip cup is what makes my bike design possible. The rider is suspended in the bike by a frame and in the prone position. And this does a few things. Number one, you're not bent over in the middle, so you have greater athletic ability. Number two, the pain of a classical saddle is gone because you're suspended inside the bike. And most importantly, air friction. Rather than catching the air, you cut through the air. And this reduction in air friction is going to make my bike much faster than any conventional bike today. There's no way that a conventional bike can keep up with my bike design. So this design has been in my head for a long time, and I really, really want to have one. I want to ride one. I want to see it made. I want to be on it. I just, it's going to revolutionize cycling today. If you were to show up with a non-friction bike at a meet, there's no way that a biker on a conventional bike would be able to keep up with my bike design. You'll toast all of them. And if you want one of these bikes, I'll make sure that my supporters get first dibs on bikes. The hip cup is what makes this bike design all possible. The hip cup is what makes the prone position possible. The rider is suspended from a U-shaped frame with both flexible and rigid materials suspending the rider on the frame in the prone position. And this prone position allows for an enormous reduction in air friction. And air friction is the number one limiter to how fast a bike can go. Classical bike, catching the air. My design, cut through the air. My bike will be much faster. There's no way that a conventional bike can keep up with my bike design. So I invite you to support the project. And if you do support the project at different levels, you'll always get a priority, and even at some certain levels, you'll get a free bike. I think that if you understand the design of this bike, you're going to want one for yourself. And if you want a bike, please support the project. And at every level, every donation, every investment level gives you priority in terms of inventory of when we make the bikes. You'll be the first to get them.